Hello and welcome back to the Hype Bulletin, hosted by yours truly, Ralph Mentor. Now, as much as I was excited to finally broadcast on my fandom of the Boston Celtics in the Banner 18 run, I'm probably a little bit more excited to show off different content, I guess you can say, than talking Celtics basketball, which I've basically done for the past 4 months and all. But it's been a great run. I do not regret it. I cannot wait till October. I am definitely ready to go to ring night and all, but I guess this is finally the end to this podcast, at least to the basketball season and all. And I'm excited to dive into a sport and into a league that I have my staunch criticism about, but I do enjoy talking about it because it does breed great content, honestly. I've realized over the past couple of years how much I've tuned myself with football and NFL content, honestly. So I'm thoroughly excited to move forward for at least the next couple months. I will keep the NFL topics ingrained for the whole season and all. I do have big plans to go to New Orleans, honestly, for Super Bowl week at least and all. But that's just talking shit right now. We're going to have to see down the road and all and make things happen and all. But again, that's how I do enjoy NFL and football, obviously. As you can see, I'm a big Celtics fan. So obviously I'm from Massachusetts and I'm a big Pats fan. 35 in November, and also thoroughly enjoyed the Super Bowl run from 2001 basically when I was 11 years old to their final Super Bowl, which I believe was 2018 and all, when I'm 28, 29 years old and all. So it's been a great run. Can't complain. Obviously, because of that run, watched a lot of football throughout the years and all. So I do have an interesting perspective and all. But there was a point that I ended the last episode with that I wanted to at least finish off here, where I'm transitioning from basketball to football, basically talking football over the next few episodes, where football is a more team-oriented sport, especially like I was bringing up with the three branches, with the GM, the coaching, and the players at least and all. And you can throw the owner in there too as well, in a certain team in the Dallas Cowboys and all, where the owner is a huge influence on their team and all. But you really need all those three things going, where an injury can occur in basketball, which can really derail your season to the point of the prognosticators of how easy the run of the Celtics run is, at least and all. In football, you can kind of get away with it. As a Pats fan, we saw the Patriots beat the Falcons in that Super Bowl without Rob Gronkowski and all too as well. Some would argue you still had Tom Brady and all, but you've seen quarterbacks and Ben Roethlisberger as a rookie barely do anything but still won a Super Bowl too as well and all. Even Trent Dilfer with a great defense and all. Peyton Manning with a noodle on. We're talking with the Denver Broncos and all, but with that great defense, Von Miller winning Super Bowl MVP and all. They won a Super Bowl even with his lack of talent from the quarterback position. So in this sport, in football at least and all, injuries are going to happen as I'll talk about when we get into the conference breakdowns in the next couple episodes at least and all. You'll see how injuries are definitely come up in football more abhorrent than basketball, especially early in the season too, as we'll talk about with the training camp injuries at least and all. But with football at least and all, it's a little bit more, what's it called there? What would I call it? It's a little bit more complicated, if I can say more than anything, than basketball. Again, there's 5 players on the court that play both sides and all. You got 11 players on the field for your team at least and all. And you need 22 to play both sides at least and all. And obviously there's substitutions and things like that too as well. So it's a little bit more in-depth sport, at least when you look at it. A ton of more strategy that's involved with football too as well and all. So I can't wait to get excited talking about that, going through the conferences and my predictions and who I think wins each division at least and all, and my Super Bowl winners and all that type of stuff and all. But there is another thing that I brought up in the past episodes too as well, especially with with Lucas and what's it called there with JB and excuse me, JB. I know JB's listening and all, but about how narrative based I'm going to go with the league and all, because with the top 10 players in the NBA at least and all, I can kind of agree of why they would be in the top 10. Even guys like Jimmy Butler, I can understand why someone would put them in their top 10 at least and all. But I'm a little bit more passionate when it comes to football and where the QBs at least and all, with my narrative currently at least and all, where they are placed at least. Guys like Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy being a top 10 quarterback, being some type of elite quarterback, just drives me absolutely bonkers when you look at the rosters that both quarterbacks are on, honestly. It's hard for me to think that these guys are in the class of I'm not going to do that to Mahomes and comparing them to other quarterbacks at least and all. But when you got Lamar Jackson Jacksons, your Josh Allens, your Joe Burrows, even your Matthew Staffords, and now C.J. Stroud. Even though it's early for that, it's very early to put him in that class, but I think he's a little different at least and all. But it's hard for me to put guys like Brock Purdy or Jalen Hurts in type of a class like that. I can understand that they're good quarterbacks, that they do their job. They don't lose games unlike other quarterbacks for their team at least, and especially on talented teams like that. They can't. but basically, I have a huge problem when I go onto other shows. I'm a type of person that goes onto Twitter and listens to other perspectives of other sports fans at least and all. And it's hard for me to fathom why they have Jalen Hurts, who I think looks like Tim Tebow, but obviously with a darker skin complexion than Tim Tebow at least and all. But I don't see much out of him. But a guy that can not make mistakes, make some big plays at certain points of a football game and all. But I don't look at him as an explosive quarterback, which just me, this is just a perspective of how I look at football at least and all. I like a quarterback that is just an explosive quarterback, the guy who can potentially score 4 straight touchdowns in a game at least. That's what I look at as an explosive quarterback. I don't look at Jalen Hurts like that, especially with arm talent and all too as well. I'm a huge fan of arm talent, and you'll see with basically what I'll be doing in this episode is introducing the NFL content that I'll be doing forward over the next month or so before we get back into basketball and all. But I'll be showing off my favorite players at each, since I broke down how the NFL has so many different branches even within the field, with 22 players are basically playing for each NFL team at least and all. Wanted to break down my favorite players at each position and all. Some lists longer than others, honestly, because I think some lists deserve longer time than others at least and all. But this is what I'll be doing, introducing the NFL to the Hype Bulletin at least and all. And I just wanted to show where my head will be coming from in certain perspectives when we go into the season and all, because injuries are going to happen. Surprise teams definitely show up in the NFL too as well and all. So whatever I predict will not be happening. It will not be as certain as the Boston Celtics won their banner 18 when I started at least pumping up trailers in February and March of this year at least. This will be a definitely different perspective towards the NFL. I do expect to be wrong. I do not expect to be right as much as I knew I was going to be right about the C's. This is definitely going to be something different. I am going to bring in a special guest, a gentleman that I've been talking football with for a year straight, and sporadically throughout the years at least, but definitely over a year straight we developed some dope camaraderie between each other, and especially around football, which this guy, I'll give him a ton of credit of knowing his ish in football, honestly, too, as well. Studies his tape, talks about it every day and all, too, as well, and he be on point about most of his points, honestly. So I definitely can't wait to bring him on the show again. Another gentleman, just like with Ben, just like with Lucas, and just like with JB, another gentleman I met through Spotify, Live Green Room, formerly known as Locker Room and all, and continued the relationship and all, too, as well, ever since. And also, can't wait to have him on, talk a little football. He will definitely have his own predictions and his own perspectives, too, as well. He's going to be a busy man previewing the league on his podcast and on his other shows at least, and also definitely we're going to find some time and definitely fit that gentleman in there. Niner fan, just want to be aware, this man's from the other side of the country at least, and all with his fandom. He's from the Jersey area at least and all, but definitely can't wait to have him on the show too as well. So just a little show, and also JB, Ben, Lucas, if they want to come back on, definitely talk a little football too as well. And like I keep mentioning with JB and Ben, at least big Bills fans and all, and they have a great chance of going to the Super Bowl this year too as well. I don't like their chances because of their coach, and we'll definitely get into that, but not in this episode, the next ones going forward and all, because I cannot stand Sean McDermott's decisions over the past couple of years for the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs and all. So, but yeah, I just wanted to start off with how I'm looking, how my narrative and how my perspective will be going, and all. I have very strong opinions about certain players at certain positions, at least on people's top 10 or their perspectives of how good they can be, or are they, or how they are presently right now, I should say, and also. We're going to dive into the shortest list that I have right now, which is the O lineman position. Looking, it can't look at me right now. Eventually, I'll have a video for my podcast, and I'll be looking at a 6 foot, 155, 160 guy, depending how much I eat in the day, and also looking at players, high respect, but having a fandom for the O lineman at least, and all is not as high as other gentlemen at least. I don't look like them or anything like that, so it's hard for me to inspire to be any type of O lineman at least and all too as well. And they're very, like I said, these guys are between 250 to 320 pounds depending on the position and all. I would say guards and centers are a little bit more bigger than tackles at least and all, because they're outside of the O line, and also they're dealing with more athletic D linemen and all too as well. But it's just one player basically that I'll have in my O lineman list right now. I promise it's going to get a little longer on the other positions at least and all, but Penei Sewell is the only O lineman that I care about. Since my Pats are not the same Patriots that I grew up with, I will seldom be a bandwagon for these football teams. And I'm a football fan at least, and all, so you can just see good teams and all. And I'll give a shout out. I'll give mad respect to any football teams that are doing their thing at least and all. I'm a fan of a team that has 6 championships all in my lifetime. No Boston Celtics bullshit that can be thrown at me on that. I just got to see them at 11 years old live to 28 years old live, honestly, in my television screen at least and all. So there's no complaints there at least and all. But Penei Sewell is by far my favorite O lineman in the NFL right now. He is the leader of the Detroit Lions, and their like you can say they're changing culture right now. What they have developed through the GM of Brad Holmes, the coach of Dan Campbell. They've got talented players all over the field, just how I'm mentioning the Eagles and 49ers and all. But with Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm bringing up Jahmyr Gibbs, and he's going to be on the list for me too as well. So let me just settle down and focus on Penei Sewell at least and all. But with all those players that the Detroit Lions I'll be bringing up at least and all, I feel like Penei Sewell is the leader of their O linemen. I feel like that's the best part of the Detroit Lions is their O line, honestly. And I feel like Penei Sewell is their basically their leader, honestly, and it happens to be on their O line, honestly. So I look at him as my favorite O lineman in football. Simple basis that, honestly. I do give respect to guys like Trent Williams, honestly. He is a difference maker for the 49ers, honestly. But these lists are just more of my favorite players I enjoy watching in football, at least and all. And I just feel like there's no one in the O lineman list that I can't add but Penei Sewell, honestly. And that's why I feel so strongly of the Lions doing big things, honestly, this season. And all. If you're a fan of football, you saw how close they were of doing big things last season, honestly. Just a few steps away, honestly. I just feel like they're on an upward trajectory with the additions they made this offseason too as well. But for the O-lineman list, it's just one, and Penei Sewell is that one, honestly. And I think that's it for someone like me that looks at the NFL. I want to be very fair that I'm not trying to come off as some type of football nerd or some type of football enthusiast that I just know everything about football. A guy that, again, the guest I'm bringing in will show off how dope he is about his football fandom, honestly, and how I'm just a little turd when it comes to it, honestly. I'm not trying to give myself too much credit with it, but let's go to a different position too as well. A short list. Another couple players that are up and coming, honestly. But number one at the tight end list, I have to put Travis Kelce. This man has 3 championships with Patrick Mahomes right now. Patrick Mahomes just showed off a behind the back pass to Travis Kelce too as well. There's only a few guys that could handle something like that too from Patrick Mahomes, and obviously it's Travis Kelce, honestly. But top tight end in the league, obviously the top receiving tight end in the league, honestly, too, as well. Probably not as great blocking wise and all, but I'm obviously giving him this credit for the precedence that he has set for winning 3 championships, 2 straight, going on for a chance this season for 3 straight and on what he's done. I get the Taylor Swift stuff and everything like that with Travis Kelce, but this is really about football field stuff too as well, honestly. Look at the game again in the Super Bowl, honestly, when the Chiefs needed it. That's why I'm making a big deal about the behind the back pass, like the 4th down play. I think it was a play action play. Pat Mahomes is bootlegging out, and there's Travis finding his number one picky in Travis Kelce, honestly, for a first down and leading them down the charge for those scores. Honestly, that fourth down bringing up is, I think it's under 2 minutes in the Super Bowl, and they needed that. If they didn't get that, the Niners are winning that football game and all too as well. So for me, Travis Kelce, as for his rep for the past few seasons, honestly, I know he's getting longer in the tooth. He's getting on the older side than being more in his prime, at least and all. But it's just hard for me after a Super Bowl, and he was a big part of them winning that Super Bowl. I'm not putting him number one as a top tight end, or at least one of my favorite tight ends to watch in football right now. Number two, unfortunately, got hurt last year throughout the season, but Mark Andrews to me is a number two tight end, is one of my favorite tight ends. Number two, I do feel bad for him not being featured in playoff games by the Ravens offensive coaching and all. I'm not sure what the hell they be thinking about all too as well. But his numbers are right up there with Travis Kelce throughout the regular seasons and all. Lamar Jackson, his first MVP season, I feel like Mark Andrews was a huge part of him getting that Super Bowl, that MVP at least. And all the Ravens haven't been close to a Super Bowl at least and all. They were last year, but it wasn't a great game at least and all. But really, I really do. I think I'm a big fan. Starting out, I wasn't a huge Lamar Jackson fan at least and all, but I'm a big fan of Lamar Jackson now at least and all. And I feel like Andrews has been a big part of Lamar Jackson's success. It's crazy of Lamar Jackson's year last year, and he kind of did that without Mark Andrews and all. And I would argue Mark Andrews is probably Lamar Jackson's best their target throughout his career, at least and all, at the tight end position. So Mark Andrews would be number two in my tight end list, at least and all. Number three, I'm going with Sam Laporta. Again, you're gonna find out that I'm a huge Lions bandwagon fan right now. I'm not gonna hide it and all. But as a rookie, I think he had a great year, honestly. Huge part of why that offense was that offense, able to move up and down the field. We'll have other players on that offense that I will mention, honestly. And you saw me slip up and mention one of the running backs at least and all. But Sam Laporta to me is my third favorite tight end to watch in football right now. And he's a rookie. I feel like his trajectory is on the way up, honestly. And he was dealing with even a knee injury, I believe, too, as well throughout the playoffs. And he was playing through it. I can only imagine what this kid is ready for when his body catches up to his skill, honestly, just for the NFL. Just from NFL ways, at least, and all. Even though he's a big guy, they make him be bigger, at least, and all, which is crazy, honestly, too, as well. With football players, at least, and all, too, as well. How big they look coming into as a rookie, and they really do develop some strength and what can I say there? Strength and bulk. There we go. For their bodies and still, flourish the same way, honestly. Still have the same speed and things of that nature, just the range of motion and things of that nature too as well. But Sam Laporta is an up and coming player for me that I really enjoy watching, especially as a big, bandwagon Lions fan. So I have him number three as my favorite tight ends to watch. Number four, and there's only gonna be four players on this one, I swear. There's only gonna be four players. I swear these lists are gonna get longer. I'm curious how long I'll be going on this show today. But number four is gonna be Dalton Kincaid. For me, honestly, I'm a big Josh Allen fan, and I feel like he's found his making in Dalton Kincaid. I feel like there were certain instances throughout the season that the Bills could have won some games and Dalton Kincaid made those plays. But the reason why I gave him a break, honestly, because he wasn't really featured throughout the season. They tried with Joe Brady and with their switch at the offensive coordinator, what position I guess I'll call, throughout the season, in the middle of the season for them. They first came in as a pump in the foot, which I don't like with Josh and Allen, but they usually come into the season pumping the football down the field. They usually have three receivers out. And they try to get some huge yards throwing the football at least and all. But Joe Brady at least which I credit to them developing something different, at least kind of featuring the run a little bit more. And that's why I feel like Dalton Kincaid started getting featured a little bit more to the second half of the season. And that's where I feel like those big plays where he kind of missed, at least, was a big part of it, because he didn't get, as a rookie, he didn't have his chance to gain his rhythm until the second half of the season, honestly, when they started featuring him more. But I am excited for what the future is for him. Now there's no Stephon Diggs in Buffalo no more, and I'm not saying Stephon Diggs is like with his talk or something like that was in the way of Dalton Kincaid. I just think they featured the wide receivers a whole lot more in Buffalo throughout the years, honestly. And I feel like this is one of the first years with Josh Allen at the helm at their quarterback position, why they're going to start featuring the tight end position a little bit more. If I'm wrong, I'll find out and I'll correct it. But I'm pretty sure Dalton Schultz is their second. If not, Dalton Knox is someone. There's a pretty damn good tight end that they have at number two, honestly. If not in front or behind Dalton Kincaid, honestly. So I expect the Buffalo Bills to finally feature the tight ends a little bit more, feature the short stuff just a little bit more, honestly, before, because Josh Allen has that arm. He deserves to throw the ball deep. It's just the frequency I never liked about it. But I think the way Joe Brady has featured this offense now a full year, featured this offense last year, now a full year, with the training camp with Josh Allen and the Dalton Kincaids and all that. I feel like Dalton Kincaid's ready for a big year, honestly, and I'm excited for what he's capable of with I think him basically being the number one targeted guy in the Buffalo Bills offense. Maybe number two, give it to maybe Curtis Samuel or something like that. But I think he should be featured. I expect and I think and I do believe, that's how much I believe that Dalton Kincaid will be a big performer for the Buffalo Bills this year, honestly. So for my four tight end list at least, and I'll have Travis Kelce 1, Mark Andrews number 2, Sam Laporta number 3, and Dalton Kincaid number 4, honestly. Now, the next short list I have is at the running back position. It's supposed to be 5, but I kind of pushed it in all 2 as well, because at the end there are 2 young players that have dealt with injuries throughout the years, and I feel like this is the year that they may get that full recovery from those injuries and have some big years, honestly. But at the running back position, number 1 should be simple as butter, in my opinion, or smooth as butter, whatever. However you look at simplicity, Christian McCaffrey is your best running back in football. If not, he's your best fantasy player in football, at least in all 2 as well. Does everything for the San Francisco 49ers. He can throw. He can't throw. That's kind of crazy. I think he has a game with the San Francisco 49ers where he threw for a touchdown, but this man can run, catch, split out and be a wide receiver in the slot position, honestly, and make some catches too as well. Just a guy you can put all over the football field. And if you need some gadget plays or have some type of fluke play, honestly, Christian McCaffrey can throw the football too as well. This man is that skilled, honestly, too as well. Never thought in my wildest dreams that growing up I ever see a white guy, and I will bring race a lot up in football. It's just my narrative of football. Race wars with JB. I can't wait to have an episode with him of something like that, honestly. But I am big. I will throw race out. The Kaepernick thing. I just think it's blatant in the NFL, honestly, where I think he should be shouted out more than others, honestly. But surprising that I would have a white, running back as the best running back in football, honestly. But I can't ignore it. The man is tremendously skilled, has been tremendously skilled. His days with the Carolina Panthers, I think most NFL nerds would argue, if CMC could be what's it called there, healthy. Almost said hungry, but be healthy. He would have a great season. He would have great seasons. He could be that type of running back, at least, and even MVP caliber running back. And you're seeing it in San Francisco and all, where he's getting hurt less, at least, and all, because he doesn't have to do so much for them, because they have so many other dynamic players on that side of the field, at least, and on both sides of it, when you be honest about the San Francisco 49ers. But I don't think you can argue that CMC and Christian McCaffrey is the best running back in football. Should be number 1 in mostly everybody's list, at least, and all. Number 2, this is where the running back position to me is a little depreciated, unfortunately. Back in the days, I think I could have argued that I can put 10 favorite running backs into the list and all, but I do think it's a little faded out and all. So that's why these players coming up, it's going to be not a little surprise, but a little different than if you look at the stats and the top guys that led the league in rushing yards, at least, not like your Josh Jacobs, I believe, did, and all. And I won't have him on this list and all too as well. So I just feel like the running back position isn't the same as it used to be. And again, I do not blame the running backs that are in this league. I don't even blame the coaching for all that too as well. That's your NFL playing a market with the running back position all too as well. That's how I feel about the NFL. I have to call them out like that too as well. I think it's only fair, honestly, if I'm going to have a podcast about this stuff, that you got to call out the NFL for depreciating the running back position with the money and all that they can potentially earn, honestly, too as well. I think if you pay attention to the NFL, you see how Saquon Barkley was just basically clawing and begging for some type of money from the New York Giants, and most NFL nerds would argue with you that Barkley was the offense of the New York Giants, not their current quarterback, who was their core quarterback basically right now, and he's looking awful in training camp and in preseason games right now. We'll see how it is throughout the season at least. No, but I don't even have him that high on this type of list, honestly. So that's how I feel about that's how it is. I just think that's just how it is in the running back class, at least, and all for this list, at least. But the only reason why I'm saying this because number 2 is going to be Jonathan Taylor, and he didn't have much of a year last year. Basically, held out throughout the first half of the season. I think when he was trying to get back, he dealt with some type of injury too as well, and then finally showed up in the last end of the season and all. But still looked dope, and that's why I think if he's able to have a full training camp, you haven't heard anything from Indianapolis training camp of Jim Irsay. You haven't heard anything. If you heard something, you'd be hearing from Jim Irsay at least, no. But you haven't heard anything from the Indianapolis Colts locker room or from the media at least, and all from their end at least, no. So things are quiet. Last time Jonathan Taylor was in there full time for the Colts at least, no, was one of the best running backs in the league. I think he won Offensive Player of the Year, if not was in the contention of Offensive Player of the Year. An award that the NFL gives out each season, at least not at the end of the season. And also, I just think if Jonathan Taylor is healthy, the way Shane Steichen, they have a rookie quarterback who's more of a running quarterback, the way they feature him, at least and all, in Anthony Richardson and all. It's going to be a team and they have an okay offensive line. It used to be better in my opinion, but it's a little bit but it's a good offensive line at least and all. I believe Quentin Nelson is still there too as well. A guy I could have mentioned, but he's kind of tapered off to what he used to be in my opinion and all. But let me not work backwards. Easily could at least and all. But the way the Colts emphasize the run at least and all, I feel like Jonathan Taylor is primed up to get back into the top, into the top names of running backs in the league at least and all. So Jonathan Taylor for me is number 2. Number 3, personal favorite. Unfortunately, he has a hamstring injury from training camp, so I'm not sure when he's going to start his season. I don't expect him to start the season in time, but I do expect him to be back at least by week 4, week 5 at least. But Jahmyr Gibbs, I think, is the most dazzling running back in football right now. Another rookie that I'm making a big deal about. This is going to be his second season and all, but and plays with another, and let's just say he shares carries with another dope running back in David Montgomery, honestly. But I just think Jahmyr Gibbs is, I don't want to call him Barry Sanders-esque. Barry Sanders is a very dope player for them same Detroit Lions, honestly. But I don't know what to say about him. There's nothing else I can say. He's a dope scat back. And he can show you power too as well as a scat back. He's very, all running backs are light on their feet, so it's not saying much that he's light on his feet at least and all, but it just looks different on the television screen in my opinion, honestly. So able to step back and to run and able to step forward all over again at the same speed and all. I just think Jahmyr Gibbs is a special talent at the running back position, so he's a personal favorite. Put up some great numbers last year with another dope running back that he's sharing carries with, and he's still able to do his thing, honestly. So as an up-and-comer at least, I got Jahmyr Gibbs number 3. Number 4, I mentioned Saquon Barkley earlier, so this is where I put him at least and all. I do blame the Giants of not featuring this man more, so he should be number 2, honestly, because when you look at talent, the way I'm excited about Gibbs' talent, Saquon Barkley is that right now. You just hope for a healthy season, honestly. I'm not the biggest Eagles supporter or anything like that, but I can't argue if he's able to stay healthy, they're primed up for a dope season, honestly. The way I mentioned CMC and all, Saquon Barkley is that too as well, honestly. You can blame the Giants and the way they feature him or their incompetence as a franchise right now. I think you can call it the Giants like that right now, for the reason why that Barkley's numbers, I think rep, it should be higher than what it is, honestly. But I do blame the Giants and their organization for putting him in the place that he's in right now. And he was able to go to Philly. I don't know if he's gonna. When we get deeper into this, I feel like he's going to be dealing with the same problem that he's dealing with the Giants, but it's not going to be so incompetent because the Eagles are a winning franchise, at least not through the past couple of years, and the Giants have reversed backwards since their playoff appearance and win against the Minnesota Vikings a couple of years back, honestly. But I would have Saquon Barkley number 4 and all. Number 5, you can argue maybe the Titans' success was the reason why I have this guy this low too as well, but Derrick Henry would be number 5, honestly, and this is where I would cut the list. But again, 2 other players I'm excited about. I think I really have to shout them out for at least I'm going to call this a favorite player position list. Let me put these 2 players in and all. But for Derrick Henry, at least and all, I am excited about him going to the Ravens, at least and all. The man has shown out throughout the years and all. Won a big playoff game I should say, for the Titans against those Ravens, when the Ravens were a 1 seed in Lamar Jackson's MVP season and all. And he basically, his running basically controlled the game and all. Tannehill made some big throws too as well. Let me not knock what he did and all. But the featuring of Derrick Henry was a big part of why the Titans won that game at least and all. So let me give him his props at least and all. But every time I think this guy's falling off a cliff, though, or falling off a hill, at least and all, because he does take a pounding, at least and all, the man still comes back and gives you a very productive season, at least and all. So it's hard for me not to put him in the top 5 of this running back list, at least and all, too, as well. And when I look at it depreciated, at least and all, too, as well, let me put some of the standard in there. And I feel like with 1, 2, 4, and 5, I kept the standard in there. And I got him a little excited about Jahmyr Gibbs, at least and all, too, as well. I think he could make some noise. Unfortunately, that hamstring injury may slow up the noise that I'm expecting from him, honestly. But I do have to finish off the top 5, at least and all, with Derrick Henry, at least and all. Again, he's going to be playing with the Baltimore Ravens, who are a run-first type of team, even though they don't show it in the playoffs, which I'm still trying to figure out why they can't do this in the playoffs, at least and all. But I'm excited for what they can do in the regular season with Derrick Henry, at least and all. Give Lamar Jackson a break running-wise, too, as well, because they'll have another explosive guy behind the line of scrimmage with Derrick Henry and all. So I have him number 5 and all. But for the next 2 running backs, I really am excited about that one to mention, at least and all. One is Breece Hall. Great rookie season through the offensive quarterback struggles the Jets went through, at least and all. Breece Hall really carried him his rookie season and all. I think he ended that season he ended it with an ACL injury, unfortunately. So he came in the last year a little slow. He didn't even play, I don't think, in the first month or so of the season and all. I think he played basically 3/4 of the season, at least and all. And again, with ACL injuries and running backs, at least and all, too, as well. Some of them, Adrian Peterson is the one exception. It looked like a freak still after his ACL injury and all. But for the normal man, at least and all, it does take a year or two for most athletes, honestly, for them to come back from an ACL injury. This is going to be year 2 after the ACL injury for Breece Hall, and he's going to be in an offense potentially. And I get the whole Aaron Rodgers and his injuries and all, and the whole team with their injuries and all. But again, with what he did in his rookie year and all, with 2 years after an ACL injury and all, too, as well, I feel like he's primed for a big year number-wise, and I feel like it's a guy if you're a fantasy individual, I think you should look out for Breece Hall, honestly, too, as well. I think he has an opportunity to have a big year this year, honestly. Like, we make a big deal for the Jets. We make a big deal about Aaron Rodgers and will he be able to move the football down the field, and a big deal for them and all. But I'm really excited for what they can feature running-wise with Breece Hall and all. Maybe live off the play action a little bit more and not depend on Aaron Rodgers and coming off an Achilles injury too as well and all. It'd be big for them if Breece Hall can show out and be a huge feature for them offensively and also. And as for another running back, at least and all, I guess number 7 for this list, at least and all, is Javonte Williams. A running back I got hip to. A couple people hit me to Javonte Williams, honestly, and I thought in Russell Wilson's first year with the Broncos a couple years back, and he ended up having a great start to his season, honestly. A very speedy guy too as well, with a little bit of force too as well. But again, sustained an ACL injury in the middle of that season. Came back last year a little bit slow. Again, in this situation, I don't think he even played until after the first month of the season, honestly. And again, after an ACL injury, looking a little slow too as well. Not looking the same that he did before the injury. That's all I'm arguing, at least. And also, again, he's going to be coming into a year 2, an offense, a Sean Payton offense that he's going to be a little bit more enthusiastic about after the way he treated Russell Wilson last training camp and off season and preseason, I should say, and training camp at least and all too as well. But with Javonte Williams, another year 2 after an ACL injury and all. They're gonna have now. They just named Bo Nix a rookie as their starting quarterback this year too as well. I do expect them to feature the run a little bit more, if not 60-40 more percent at least and all, than the pass at least and all, to make sure their quarterback is comfortable at least and all. Even though Bo Nix has shown that he can make all the throws through his preseason success, at least not too as well. But I do expect him to feature the run a bit. And I think Javonte Williams can stand out and have a big year, honestly. for the Denver Broncos at the running back position. And also, that's who I got. That's who I got the running back. I got CMC 1, Jonathan Taylor 2, CMC Christian McCaffrey. Let me just spell it out. Number 2, Jonathan Taylor. 3, Jahmyr Gibbs, even though this hamstring injury to start the season I'm not excited about, so we'll see what happens. Number 4, Saquon Barkley. Number 5, Derrick Henry. 6, Breece Hall. And 7, Javonte Williams. And also, now, the next three list I'm going to go are definitely going to be over 10 players. Now we're definitely going to do a top 10 list and all. Each of them I'm gonna have 12 at least, because I want to give some guys some love at least. I'm not trying to diss. All I'm trying to do is just show up my favorite players and all too as well. It's a big deal about the wide receiver position of who I didn't have in the top 10 in the Twitter Spaces at least, and also I wanted to make sure I shouted them out at least and all too as well. It's just guys like Devontae Adams in their circumstances why I can't put him as high. That's why I put Saquon Barkley 4 at least. No, it's just certain. That's like the first controversial thing I feel like with my list I'm bringing up is having Saquon Barkley 4. It's just his circumstances with the Giants is the reason why he's not as high as he should be. Honestly, that's why. Like with Gibbs' situation is why I like it a little bit more. You'll find out, as you heard with my Jalen Hurts talk and down the line, that I'm not the biggest Eagles fan either. So that's why Saquon Barkley again is not that high at least. No, it's just circumstances that they are in is why I would knock some people down from here to there at least and all. But big fan of the NFL and their players at least and all. There's only a few that I will knock wholeheartedly, honestly, too as well. But there's always a plus here and there when it comes to just from athletes and all too as well. It's hard for me to completely divulge into hate with athletes at least and all too as well. I wish I was one of them. You know what I mean? Definitely throughout my times growing up at least and all, most black men. I bet that's the case too as well and all. So that's where my respect comes from at least and all. But just had myself a little tangent. Now let's go to the next position and all. This position at least and all will be mixed and mingled. The way I did the way I looked at the old linemen and all too as well is not how I feel about defensive players. Even though my physicality matches none of their ish at least and all, but it is some dope dominance too as well. I've just finished watching WWE and all, and these defensive players show out some WWE stuff from time to time and all too as well. So this will be an 11 player list basically. For my favorite defensive players that I enjoy watching and all. So number 1 is Micah Parsons. I think if there is a modern day Lawrence Taylor, I guess I've never seen him play, so I'm really speaking hyperbolic here at least and all. But I just think if there's anyone closer from clips and things that I've saw, a guy that can play different positions at a high level at least and all too as well. I think Micah Parsons is that. He's shown himself out at the D tackle position for the Dallas Cowboys. He's shown himself at the D end position for the Dallas Cowboys. He's shown himself at the outside linebacker position for the Dallas Cowboys too as well. I'm not sure about the middle linebacker position. I don't watch that much Cowboys football, but he's shown himself at all those 3 positions in 5 years in. If not, this is his 6th season in the NFL and all. No. I think this is his 4th or 5th season now, because I think his rookie contract is about to be up and all too as well. This is what we're talking about. This is Micah Parsons that we're talking about, playing 3 different positions at a high level, honestly. Whenever they figure out where he needs to sit and stay and they can build around that, Micah Parsons will take off as a player, honestly, too, as well. I think as a future, as dominant as he is right now, I think there's more dominance coming his way. We had a guy in Aaron Donald who just retired. I think Micah Parsons can take. You see how I put at least the modern day Lawrence Taylor. Aaron Donald was that, but he just retired at least and all. I'm proud of him. Good for him too as well and all. But that title at least and all, I think it's going to Parsons and all. And when I talk about a guy who's already big like that, and he's only 4, 5, 6, 24, 25, 26, he's going to get. But there's some man strength still coming when I bring up the bulk and the more strength that guys like Sam Laporta and Dalton Kincaid are going to come with as from rookies and all seats for their 2nd and 3rd and 4th years. Micah Parsons is going to be an animal and all too as well. Number 2 is already an animal right now too as well. He is the result that Parsons will look like and all too as well. But for right now, Parsons is number 1. Number 2, I think he won Defensive Player of the Year in the NFL last year, is Myles Garrett. This man is the animal right now too as well. You can catch him on basketball clips dunking 2-handed on people too as well, honestly. But Myles Garrett is by far the best player, again, the best defensive player in the AFC at least and all. Wow, I just said that, and number three is going to be. Yeah, I should be mad that I just said that honestly after winning another Super Bowl and all. But just regular season wise, the consistency and all too as well, and at his age too as well. This other player that I'll bring up at number three is a little older at least and all, still great, but just a little bit older at least and all. So that's why I put Garrett number two and all. But even though I say Garrett is the best defensive player in the AFC, which is kind of true, Chris Jones is probably the truth because what he does in the playoffs, at least in all two as well, was huge. And the Ravens win. Well, he was huge in the Bills win, the Ravens win, and in the Super Bowl, honestly, too, as well. If it wasn't for him, Josh Allen is completing that pass, and the Bills are maybe winning that football game, honestly. So that's how big Chris Jones is, honestly. So he is number three on my favorite defensive players to watch right now, too, as well. Now, this list may get a little bit gimpy for certain people and all, too, as well. So that's why I'm emphasizing favorite list and all, too, as well. But I think after these three players, in any order should be in anybody's list as best defensive players in the league, in my opinion, honestly. It's really between those three. Whoever you have number one, I respect. But whoever you have lower than three out of those three, I'd be disappointed, at least not on your list. And I think those are the three best defensive players in the league right now too as well. But after this, it's up to speculation, at least in all. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. But number four is the other Josh Allen with the Jaguars, at least in all. I believe he led the league in sacks last year. I'm very excited for the DC they brought in from Atlanta this year, honestly. I feel like the Atlanta the Atlanta defense was pretty good last year, and I feel like if their offense was better, they could have been better, honestly. There'd been more opportunities for them to intercept the ball, create more turnovers, at least and all. If their offense was able to sustain drives and have some leads and sustain leads, at least and all. But Josh Allen with this new DC, a defense that hasn't looked good, but he was able to throw seven. It didn't look good last year, I should say, at least and all. But was able to have 17 and a half sacks and all. Was able to be a high impact guy in certain situations throughout the end of their season last year, and he's been big in big games. I brought up Jonathan Taylor being the second best running back and all. I will argue that Josh Allen stopped him on that great season that I think he had, that offensive player of the year. Josh Allen stopped him and that Colts team from going in the playoffs and all, because the way the Colts were going, they just needed to win that game against the Jaguars and they were going to the playoffs. Josh Allen and that defense stopped them completely. Carson Wentz, I would argue, kind of blew the game, honestly, for the Colts that day. But Josh Allen was huge for the Jaguars that day. Been a fan of him ever since that day. And I feel like if they can just structure out I feel like the Jaguars defense is talented, but it's not structured well. With this new DC, I have a good feeling that they're able to structure themselves better, where Josh Allen can look a little bit better. Just as an overall best defensive player on anybody's list, honestly. I just feel like that defense has been slacking on him, at least last year, because the year before, again, they did that to Jonathan Taylor, if not like 2 years prior, at least in all. My football memory isn't as ingrained as basketball, at least in all, but he's had some big moments, at least in all. 17 and a half sacks last year. I think he's a pretty damn young guy too as well, right around Garrett and Parsons' age, at least in all. I think he's primed for another dope year for himself, and if they're able to structureize that Jaguars defense, he can have a huge year for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm sorry, and have them number two to the Houston Texans, who I believe is the best team in that division, and maybe have them go into the playoffs, at least and all. But number five, I got T.J. Watt. When he's healthy, he's by far shown that he can be the best defensive player in the AFC, honestly. There's always sitting there with 14 plus sacks too as well, even through his injury seasons too as well, honestly. So hard to argue not to have TJ Watt in my top five, at least and all. When healthy, he shows out and is in the conversation right there with Garrett and Parsons, at least and all, as sack guys, at least and all too as well. Number six, Kyle Hamilton for the Baltimore Ravens, safety for them. This is finally a defensive player outside of the D-line, at least and all. But I just watching him last year, honestly, in the playoffs, especially the game against the Texans, he's really up to my respect, honestly. I thought he looked great against the Niners too as well. When the Ravens went into San Francisco, Santa Clara, I should be specific at least, and all, and whipped the Niners on a Monday night game at least and all. I think he had a couple interceptions, if not one big interception at least and all. So, and he was huge in the in the Texans playoff game and in the divisional round and all. So, my regard for him has really upped it. So that's why I have Kyle Hamilton 6. Before his injury though, at number 7, I would have put Trayvon Diggs there. He was on a roll starting up last season, honestly, with his interceptions and all too as well. Ended up getting hurt, honestly, too as well. So kind of, obviously slowed that shit down, honestly, for his season. But I'm a huge fan of him. His ball hawking skills is mad dope, honestly. I'm a huge fan of cornerbacks and safeties that are ball hawking, honestly. You're talking to a Pats fan that got to watch Ty Law play. Got to see Darrell Reeves for a season come here and play. Asante Samuel may not be the greatest cornerback, of all time, but he was definitely a dope ball hawking cornerback in his heyday with the Pats, at least. And also, I'm a huge fan of ball hawking cornerbacks and safeties. And Trayvon Diggs hits that to a T, honestly. This man will be touching double-digit interceptions and all too as well one time in his career, in my opinion, honestly, if he keeps that up. Especially, I'm not sure if he's a safety. I'm pretty sure he's a cornerback, but a guy like that can definitely fit a free safety type of role later in his career, honestly. So I do expect a season where he can have 10 interceptions, honestly, too, as well. Number 8 is Raekwon Smith, linebacker for first linebacker on the list now, too, as well, but linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens. Again, it's the playoff run that's really why I have Kyle Hamilton number 6 and Roquan Smith number 8, honestly. I just thought they were huge in that Texans game, honestly. If it weren't for them, I feel like the Ravens are losing that game, honestly, because they weren't doing anything offensively against the Texans. If the Texans were able to move the football and score here or there, they really would have had a chance of winning that football game and leaving Baltimore with a win. But I thought the play of Kyle Hamilton and now number 8, Raekwon Smith for the Baltimore Ravens, I thought they were just huge, honestly, too, as well. So that's why I have Raekwon Smith number 8. A guy who played with the Bears and had high tackle numbers, honestly, has come to the Ravens and just fit essentially, honestly. I think he even had a wild line at a press conference too as well, but he's upped his game ever since saying something like that too as well. So Roquan Smith for me will be number 8 and all, as my top favorite defensive players, at least and all. Number 9 is Quinnen Williams, D tackle for the New York Jets and all too as well. It's the circumstances why he hasn't shown out as being a top D tackle in the league, honestly. I think his talent is unquestioned, honestly, too, as well. Mad young, I believe at 24, 25 years old, honestly, too, as well, has shown out, is a big reason why that Jets defense is that good, honestly, too, as well, because of the fact that you may have to double team this guy every possession or every snap of a football game, honestly, too, as well, and he still gets through the line of scrimmage, too, as well, honestly, and to the quarterback and all. So Quinn Williams will be number 5. Another Jet that I have number 10 is Sauce Gardner. Huge fan of him too as well. Again, I'm going to argue circumstances why. He's not higher in these type of lists and all too as well. But another ball hawking individual too as well. This guy's only in his 3rd, 4th year too as well, honestly. The Jets have some dope young players, honestly. And that's why I would have him number 10 at least and all too as well. Young guy is still going to step up too as well. Another guy in his future, they can easily see him as a free safety too as well after his years as a cornerback at least and all too as well, if he needs to, because he's that talented, honestly. I think it's early for him too as well. There's a lot more coming from Sauce Gardner and all too as well. But in number 11, I feel like Fred Warner deserves an honorable mention. Linebacker from the San Francisco 49ers, a huge part of them staying into some playoff games last year too as well, honestly. I'll keep it recency bias and all too as well, but I do think he's a top end linebacker in the league too as well, if not one of the best too as well, honestly. Again, I like to show out some young players too as well in these type of favorite lists and all, but I feel like Fred Warner does, in this type of list, for me at least, does deserve an honorable mention. One, I think he is the best defensive player on the 49er defense, and they got some players on that defense, honestly, too as well, and on every position, from their cornerback position, safety position, other linebacker and Greenlaw, and their D line with Bosa and all too, featuring Bosa. You got, I think, Armstead's still there too as well. But no, yeah, I have to mention Fred Warner into the type of defensive player list at least and all. So I would have him number 11, have him as an honorable mention at least and all. But to go over it real quick, at least and all, number 1, Michael Parsons for the Dallas Cowboys. Number 2, Myles Garrett for the Cleveland Browns. If I didn't mention the teams, I'm doing it now. That's why I'm really emphasizing it. But number 3, Chris Jones for the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Number 4, the other, Josh Allen for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I'm pretty sure, I think he hyphened his last name now, so we'll update that going forward there, but I have to make sure that's true. Number 5, I got TJ Watt for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 6, Kyle Hamilton for the Baltimore Ravens. Number 7, Trayvon Diggs for the Dallas Cowboys. Number 8, Raekwon Smith, linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens. Kyle Hamilton is a free safety for the Baltimore Ravens. Trayvon Diggs is a cornerback for the Dallas Cowboys. Number 8, Raekwon Smith, linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens. Number 9, Quinnen Williams for the D tackle for the New York Jets. Number 10, Sauce Gardner, cornerback for the New York Jets. And number 11, Fred Warner, linebacker for the San Francisco 49ers. And also, now this next position, you would think this would be number 1 and all too as well, but I am unimpressed by the quarterback position definitely from like 5 down, honestly, too as well. So this is basically my quarterback list too as well. And all. I got Pat Mahomes number 1. I have Lamar Jackson number 2. I got Josh Allen number 3. I got Joe Burrow number 4. I got Matthew Stafford number 5. I got C.J. Stroud number 6. I got Aaron Rodgers number 7 and all too as well. If he's healthy, I think he's going to be one of the top quarterbacks in the league this year. I get the injury concerns with him, but it's hard for me to argue if he's healthy. He's not a top 10 quarterback in the league and all. So he's number 7. Number 8 is Dak Prescott, coming off of MVP caliber season. I think he was voted top 3 as an MVP last year. Number 9, Jordan Love. Really showed out at the second half of the season. I feel like Matt LaFleur just stepped up his play calling a little bit more, honestly. I think Jordan Love was always there with that, but he found it late and was able to have a nice end to the season, honestly. A huge win against the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs, honestly. Number 10, now this is where the list is going to may sound biased and all, but I disagree, and I'm going to keep on going. But number 10 would be Jared Goff for the Detroit Lions and all. Number 11, not the biggest fan of him head-wise, but I can't argue with talent, at least and all. And I'm a huge fan of talent when I watch football, at least and all. So I'm going to put Justin Herbert at number 11. And when healthy, and he's not so focused on video games, at least and all too as well, Kyler Murray will be 12 and all too as well. So those are my top quarterbacks and all. Going along with this episode, and all, so I don't want to say too much, at least and all. But I think number 1, Mahomes, is just obvious, at least and all. 2, 3, and 4. As long as you have Jackson, Allen, and Burrow, you won't see me fighting you, at least. So I can respect. To me, the only reason I'm putting Jackson 2 because of his MVP season, at least and all. But as a true favorite, Josh Allen is my number 2 quarterback. Honestly, I think he can do it all. Honestly, I feel like I'm not trying to diss to Stephon Diggs, but I do feel like his presence was in the way of Josh Allen's growth, at least and all. I do appreciate what I'm hearing about Josh Allen, that he was able to win before Stephon Diggs. He was able to make the playoffs, and I think win a game without Stephon Diggs before too as well. So I know those are going to be the questions for him coming into this season and all. But with Dalton, with who I mentioned in Dalton Kincaid earlier, and with the other, I think it's Dalton Knox as their other tight end, at least and all too as well. I'll get corrected if I have to, at least and all. But I do think Josh Allen's primed up for a great year, honestly, and I still think he's one of the top quarterbacks in the league, honestly, even though his playoff success doesn't show it entirely, at least, even though he's had some great games and all. And Joe Burrow is obviously in there. Injury is the reason why maybe he's not a guaranteed number 2, because you can't ignore the success he's had early in his career too as well, honestly. But out of those 3, if you have any of those 3 from 2 to 4, I'm cool with. Mahomes deserves to be 1. If you don't have Mahomes number 1, then you just have a problem. Yeah, you don't want to deal with the fact that he is the best quarterback in the league. I don't know what to say about that. But number 5, I think Stafford is number 5, honestly. Super Bowl champion, had a great game against the Lions, honestly. Easily could have won that game too as well, honestly. You can just argue if he stays healthy. He's one of the top quarterbacks in the league too as well. So, but from 5, and you got Stroud 6. I'm trying to be early on Stroud, at least and all. I can understand if he's too young to be putting in the top 10 list too as well. I can totally respect that too as well. But I like what I saw from him as a rookie more than a Jalen Hurts, at least and all too as well. So I'm not putting, that's why I'm putting Stroud first. And you definitely hear the bias of Jalen Hurts and all too as well. Rodgers, I understand the fight if you don't want to put him there too as well. I get that some people think he's done too as well. I get it. I do think he's primed for a healthy season too as well. I do think he's an exception to older players dealing with injuries and still playing too as well, honestly. I don't know. I think Rodgers is he's a special guy. I think he's proven it. The guy's 40 years old and still playing quarterback. The man's a back-to-back MVP winner. As a 37 and 38-year-old, if I'm not corrected, like a 36, 37-year-old at least and all. I don't think you can argue with his talent if he's healthy at least and all too as well. So that's why I have Aaron Rodgers number 7. Prescott had a great year and all. His lack of playoff success really hurts his argument to put him higher at least and all because he gives you numbers. He was top 3 MVP last year and all, but and even with the playoff success, I'm going to blame his circumstances because that's more of a franchise issue, more than a Dak Prescott issue with the Dallas Cowboys at least and all. But because of that, it's hard to argue to put Dak Prescott in the top 5, top 6 nature at least and all. Jordan Love is, again, I'm early on this guy. I've been like this guy from last year, honestly, from what he showed out early in the season, honestly. I just always felt Matt LaFleur was holding him back, and he chooses not to hold him back against my Detroit Lions. Yep, bandwagoner, so I'll say my Detroit Lions at least and all. But showed them out. I think it was a Thanksgiving game at least and all. Showed them out big time. Big throw to Christian Watson, I think, to start the game at least and all, if not like the second play to start the game. And it was all downhill for the rest of the season for the Packers, at least not for them. You can argue Jordan Love can be higher because I anticipate the Packers to be a tough team in the NFC North this year with Jordan Love, the other offensive players that they can feature, and a potentially better defense than they had last year and all. So Jordan Love, that's why I have Jordan Love 9. Jared Goff is number 10. Maybe my bias for the Detroit Lions and all. I do look at him as a guy that can make all the throws. I do think his rep to end his Rams tenure has hurt him. So I think that's why he's not highly regarded at least and all. But I just look at the guy who can make all the throws and all. I'm a huge fan of arm talent. That's what true reason why I don't have guys like Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy on this list. I just don't like their arm talent and all. All these guys I mentioned are guys that have great arms, man. Like can move in the pocket. It's with some of them. I won't say all of them. But most of them at least can move out of the pocket and still throw the football in a tight rip at least and all too as well. If not, move like Tom Brady, scat through the pocket at least and all. Still throw a dart 50 yards down the field or some ish like that at least and all. That's how I look at quarterbacks at least. Their arm talent is what I look at first before I look at everything else, honestly. So guys like Hurts and Purdy, and with my bias at least and all, it hurts them in my type of list like this and all too as well. Doesn't make them not good quarterbacks. That's why I don't want to come up on this podcast and sound like at least and all. Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy have been to Super Bowls. They're obviously good quarterbacks and all. But if I'm looking at quarterbacks that you're asking me, who would you start your team with and all? They wouldn't be in my top list and all of quarterbacks that I would want to start my team with and all. But I totally respect what they do as quarterbacks for the Niners and the Eagles, respectfully, at least and all. So I want to show off my bias at least and all, but I want to come off as, understand what positions they're in too as well and all. And maybe because of the teams that they're on, they can't be featured as top quarterbacks too as well. And I can be fair in analyzing them like that too as well and all. But that's why I have Jared Goff 10. And the other two guys that have great arm talent too as well that I can't ignore at least and all is Justin Herbert for the Chargers. Even though we'll see about him in number 12, Kyler Murray, and number 12 on this list is Kyler Murray and all. We'll see too as well. But both guys have new things going for them that seem positive. Jonathan Gannon, as the new coach for the Cardinals, shows some promise and all. You add Marvin Harrison, you can argue is the best wide receiver coming out of a draft in years at least and all. If it wasn't for the quarterbacks that got drafted, and they look pretty damn good, and at least in Williams and Jaden Daniels, you don't know about Drake May at least and all, but the passing they need the receiver at least and all. Well, you can argue maybe they need a receiver too more than a quarterback. Who knows with my New England Patriots these days? But if it weren't for those quarterbacks at least and all, quarterback needs from those teams at least and all. Marvin Harrison easily could have been number 1 and all, and you're adding that to now Kyler Murray, who looks pretty damn good with DeAndre Hopkins. If Marvin Harrison fits being that type of top end receiver going forward, you have some type of combination right there too as well. And Justin Herbert, if the Chargers are able to pull off this run first thing and he can live off the play action with his talent at least and all, who cares who's that receiver? He can get anybody open at least and all too as well. So those are my top 12 quarterback lists and all too as well. Had to show out my bias towards Jalen Hurts and all too as well. Will be a theme going forward at least and all. So just getting it prepared for that too as well and all. But Surprising that that is number two in all, as a list at least in all. As much as the quarterbacks get that fanfare out in the media or out in the world, on the internet and all, but I can't ignore the talent at the wide receiver position in today's NFL and all. You're looking at, I think you're looking at a whole bunch of Hall of Famers right now at the wide receiver position too as well, and most of them are not even 26 or 27 years old yet, honestly. And there are some names that I won't even mention, like Puka Nacua had a great rookie season, honestly too as well. He won't be on my top 12 list, honestly. Should argue, and I should argue he is, honestly. His teammate too as well, who's dealing with injuries and all too as well. But when you see Adam Thielen have some type of resurrection with the Panthers last year, I can't see how it's hard the way the Panthers played last year. You can have a resurrection over there, but and then his Puka Nacua's teammate and Cooper Kupp is another great talent too as well. If you can be able to have some great years to end his career, at least right now, at least towards the end of his career, the way his career was going, you can argue he was a Hall of Famer too as well, honestly, as being the best, being labeled as the best wide receiver for a time, and then winning the Super Bowl basically under that title that he had and all too as well. But there's just a shit ton of talent in the wide receiver position that I won't be mentioning and all too as well. So let's just start it out, because I can keep going about it too as well. I can start looking up names and all just to prove the point and all. But I just think there's a lot. This list can go any which way, honestly too as well. If you had certain players number one over others, I kind of get it, honestly too as well. Because there's a guy who's number one on his team with the targets, the yards, and everything. I have him number 6 on this list, honestly. So I can argue why this guy I would have number 6 on my list, that you would put him number 1 and all too as well. But number 1 for me is Justin Jefferson. I think he's the best wide receiver in football and all too as well. It's unfortunate with his injury last year and that Kevin O'Connell offense. He would have definitely had some fun last year and all. There's another rookie. There we go. There's another rookie, Jordan Addison, who came out of nowhere last year and put up some big numbers, honestly, too, as well at the wide receiver position for the Minnesota Vikings and all too as well. So that's what I mean with this talent. It's just ridiculous at the wide receiver position. I think every team I'm going to bring up, they have a wide receiver partner that's pretty damn good too as well with all the receivers I'm about to bring up. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. And yeah, maybe without the maybe the Jets player doesn't have one, which is funny. But with everyone else, at least, they pretty much have a pretty damn good teammate and all. But number 1 for me is Justin Jefferson of the Minnesota Vikings. Number 2 is Tyreek Hill of the Miami Dolphins, who plays with a dope teammate named Jalen Waddle. Honestly, too, as well, a speedster in himself. And Tyreek Hill has a nickname called the Cheetah, honestly. But he was this close of a 2,000-yard year this year. Last year, I should say, honestly. I feel like if he had some big catches against the Eagles, he could have been in the MVP conversation too as well. Made those catches and they won that game. He would have been more in the MVP conversation too as well, honestly. But I do put Tyreek Hill number 2. Jamar Chase is number 3, honestly, too, as well. From here, I can understand a little bit more argument against him, because what has he done lately and all? Since the Super Bowl season and all, too, as well. Injuries, Burrow injured, too, as well. Honestly, there is circumstances there. But I feel like if everything goes right for the Bengals, Jamar Chase is in the conversation of the best wide receivers in the league, honestly. And he's one of my favorites to watch, honestly. So he's number 3. Number 4, A.J. Brown. Been a huge fan of this guy since the Tennessee Titans days, honestly. I feel like whatever was happening with the Eagles offense last year, it hurt his numbers and his rep a little bit more. So I feel like he's not kind of looked like as a top receiver, honestly. But in any other year, he would be my number 1 usually, honestly. But just because of last year and all, I feel like, but I still do respect what A.J. Brown can do and all. I have him number 4 in my list as favorite wide receivers in the NFL right now. Number 5, one of these up-and-comers, and I'm a big, huge fan of, and he plays for that bandwagon team I'm going to love talking about this year, and that's Amon-Ra St. Brown, honestly. Got his huge contract this offseason, too, as well, honestly. But he is there. Need a catch from somebody down the field, especially more than 8 and 9 yards. A long second down, long third down. He is that guy. Intermediate routes too as well, middle of the field and all too as well. With like I said, 8 to 10 yards and all. Amon St. Brown is that for Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions and their offense and all too as well. So he definitely comes into my top 5 and all. Another guy here who has great numbers, honestly, is the engine for their team too as well. Honestly, even though I don't have any faith in them this season, is CeeDee Lamb with the Dallas Cowboys, honestly. May not see him to start the season, honestly, the way contracts disputes are going with him and the ownership there with the Dallas Cowboys and all too as well. But I can't argue with the numbers that he had honestly last year, that he's not on the top 10 list of best receivers or favorite receivers for me to watch in the NFL and all too as well. Number 7, maybe a surprise to others, but I don't think he gets the credit he deserves honestly because of the talent that he has around him. Honestly, I feel like Brandon Ayuk of the San Francisco 49ers has potential can potentially have bigger numbers than what he has right now. It could be with the San Francisco 49ers. They can easily feature him more. Again, I brought up somebody like CMC too as well. I could have brought up Rick Kittle in my top tight end list too as well. He's a dope talent at the position too as well and all too as well. But Brandon Ayuk, I feel like is their best catching. Even though CMC is great at catching, Brandon Ayuk is better at that at the wide receiver position at least, and also I do think he is their best pass catcher. Another receiver who plays with a dope receiver in Deebo Samuel, but again just a little bit more older. I'm sure there's a little bit more wear there and on him too as well and all. But Brandon Ayuk to me is number 7 as one of my favorite receivers to watch in football right now. Now these next 2 should be higher than Ayuk, but their circumstances really hurt why they're not higher right now. And I feel like with one of them this season may be another hard one for him too as well. But for number 8, I got Garrett Wilson and all. I feel like I think he's a top 5 caliber receiver honestly too as well with the New York Jets. But he hasn't been blessed with a quarterback at all for his first 3 years first 2 seasons. It's going to be his 3rd year this year honestly in his career right now, and he still gives you 1,000 yards a season too as well honestly. They're still able to find him for a whole bunch of targets for him too as well honestly with these lack of quarterbacks that the Jets have had over the past couple of years. And also if Aaron Rodgers can give you some type of health honestly, it's going to help out somebody like Garrett Wilson and all, and that's why it's hard for me to ignore the Jets making noise if they have some type of health and all, because guys like Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall who I mentioned before have shown out without any type of semblance of an offense. If Aaron Rodgers can give you some type of health and all, there's another semblance of an offense right there for the Jets, and I think a potential big year for Garrett Wilson and going forward for his career and all. But number 9 may not be a top end receiver this year because what's going on at the quarterback position with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I'm a huge fan of George Pickens. Every year you can guarantee a big deep play from him, if not like maybe 2 to 3 of them. And I think the Pittsburgh Steelers have always pumped out dope wide receiver talents too as well. It's unfortunate what's going on at the quarterback position with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields both trying to figure it out and seeing who's going to be the quarterback for that team. And I'm a little worried of their offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith, too, as well. Those are going to be conversation points that I'll be talking about going forward and all, too, as well. But because of circumstances, I feel like Pickens may not even be in most people's list, honestly, which I would understand, honestly. But his talent is mad dope, and if he had some type of semblance of an offense, mind you, a quarterback, I think you would see more of him, more highlights of him, and more higher numbers, higher stats of him. And he gives you dope stats for a guy who doesn't have anyone consistently giving him the ball, or at least consistently, consistent accuracy, I should say, at the quarterback position of him getting the ball at least and all. But to round out my 10, at least and all, I have a couple honorable mentions with the wide receivers at least and all. Is Mike Evans with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's just precedent, so I would give him this spot over number 11 Devontae Adams and all. And there's a lot of people that got mad, not mad, but like created the debate that we had a debate with that why isn't Devontae Adams in the top 10 of your wide receiver list and all too as well. And again, that's circumstances. I do like what the Raiders showed out in the preseason and all too as well. They drafted Brock Bowers, who I'm a huge fan of. Like as you see with the young players I picked out in the tight end list that I have and all, Brock Bowers can easily be in that list with a huge year this year, because I think he's set up to be a dope tight end in this league at least and all. And you see Sam Laporta and Dalton Kincaid, rookies, coming in and really making an impact and all. I'm just excited for Brock Bowers and his potential for the Raiders and all too as well. So the way I felt about Adams before going into the season is definitely changing the way I'm seeing the Raiders and the way they look at least and all offensively and all. And 12 is definitely a surprise even though he got his money and all, and I guess CJ Stroud's a big reason why he had his big year and all, but I put Nico Collins there honestly. The only reason why I respect people putting him up there and all because he can really have a big year this year, honestly, with what the Texans just added offensively. And I know a Texans fan on Twitter Spaces and all, and he's arguing Tank Dell, if not Tank Bell, I think it's Tank Dell, is their best wide receiver and all too as well. If that's the case and all, Nico Collins' numbers could be better than what they were last year, honestly. And you're adding Joe Mixon, a better running back than Singletary. Better running back than Singletary, honestly, from the running aspect and from a pass catching aspect, for the Houston Texans at the running back position. And also, is there a potential for Nico Collins to have a huge year? Honestly, is the reason why I can respect why some people have him in their top 10 at least, and all too as well, in their top 10 wide receiver list. And also, just to go over it real quick, because this is my favorite position in football right now, by far the wide receiver position. And all, and it's Justin Jefferson 1 for the Minnesota Vikings. Number 2, Tyreek Hill for the Miami Dolphins. Number 3, Jamar Chase for the Cincinnati Bengals. Number 4, AJ Brown for the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 5, Amase Brown for them dope Detroit Lions and all. Number 6, CeeDee Lamb for the Dallas Cowboys. Number 7, Brandon Ayuk for the San Francisco 49ers. Number 8, Garrett Wilson for the New York Jets. Number 9, George Pickens for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 10, Mike Evans for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 11, Devontae Adams for the Las Vegas Raiders. And number 12, Nico Collins for the Houston Texans and all too as well. Other mentions, like I said, with Puka Nacua, you can put in your top 15 list too as well. Like I said, Jordan Addison had a great year as a young guy. I brought out Jalen Waddle, you can put in the list and all. Jordan Addison just came out of nowhere. If you're a big fan of him, throw him in there. But the other receivers with the Bengals, I didn't bring up T. Higgins. You can put in your top 15 list. Devontae Smith for the Philadelphia Eagles playing with AJ Brown. You can put in your list too as well and all. And who's another one there? Yeah, I think that's it. I'm sure there's a few more I'm not thinking of right now you can throw into the list, honestly. I just feel like the wide receiver position is by far the deepest position in football, honestly. And I feel like it deserved to be the number one show out for what I'm trying to do on this episode today and talk about my favorite players in the NFL and all. So if you guys stayed and listened, I do appreciate you guys listening. I'm saving for the promoting stuff for the end at least and all, because we're steadily climbing up to 1,000 downloads, plays for the start of the Hype Bulletin this year and all too as well. So I do appreciate that. Got bigger plans and ideas for the podcast for it too as well. As you can see, transitioning from basketball content to football content for the time being, at least, and all until the NBA season starts brewing up at the end of September and October and all. But trust me, I'm mad excited to talk about some NFL football and all too as well. Next, I'll be talking about the AFC conference and all too as well. My favorite division in football is the NFC conference right now, so I wanted to save that division for the last, save the best for last at least. And also, I'll be starting with the AFC, which is the deeper conference at least, not between the AFC and NFC and all. So will be intriguing how I feel about how it's going to play out and all too as well. I do think there's going to be a 11-6, a 11-6, a 10-7 team that doesn't make the playoffs in the AFC. Honestly, I think it's that deep. You're looking at the AFC North that's going to give you some. I think it's going to be very interesting and all. AFC South could be interesting. I just think it's a two-team race in the AFC South, but the Colts and the Titans can show you something too as well, honestly. So I'll be fair to them. The AFC East, even though it's a joke in a way, I do think it's an underrated division all too as well. The Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets have talent, while the Buffalo Bills have the best quarterback in the division, and he's been part of the team that's won the division mostly since the past 4 seasons all too as well. The AFC East, I feel like, is a little bit more competitive than how it's showing out to be to start at least and all. And then you got the AFC West at least, and I think that's the only division that's not much to talk about at least and all, with the Chiefs and the Chargers and the Broncos and the Raiders in there too as well. But even though I say that at least and all, the Denver Broncos and the Las Vegas Raiders sat there with 7 wins last year and barely missed the playoffs and all too as well, if not missed it by a couple games and all. So that's how open the AFC is at least and all too as well. It'll be intriguing for me at least know who I put on wax or who I think is gonna win their division and all too as well. But that's what we have next going on next week. for next episodes whenever I decide to drop those episodes for my previews of the NFC, of the AFC and the NFC, and I'll definitely be starting off with the AFC and all. But again, I do appreciate you guys listening. On our way up to 1,000 downloads and hopefully a whole lot more and all too as well. Can't wait to provide you guys more content and my perspective of the NFL too as well and all. And we'll see how these things play out and all. But again, appreciate you guys listening, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.